He partook in the act of self-inflict, which result in the loss of pulse. Yep, that's YouTube enforcing laws, which is a completely different topic. But today, My 600-Pound Life is Worse Than You Think is a show which I have not seen, but I know about it. The patient is very heavy, and the doctor may or may not be mean to them for funny moments. That's what I know. Okay,
Pound Life
but
has
it's worse
everything a
than that.
reality TV show needs to be entertaining, from gut-wrenching emotional
Yeah,
meltdowns
Oh, you're costing me my weight loss surgery and you're ruining everything!
to brutal reality checks.
yeah.
Steven, you're not going to be alive much longer the way you live. You want us to write you off as
It doesn't
hopeless?
look that
Then we
bad, but
will. There is no hope for you.
But what truly keeps viewers coming back
he doesn't look like that bad. If he puts in the effort, he can
are
definitely
the
fix it.
powerful stories of perseverance and transformation. Seeing the cast in the show struggle against insurmountable odds, not just for themselves,
Nice.
but
This
for the
one
people they
is nice.
love, is nothing short of inspiring.
Just missing a tooth
So you
though.
lost almost 250 pounds. Well, how's your life
That's a
changed
W.
since you started the program?
I mean, I can do so much. Just getting out, doing things, not having to depend on people, just, take care of myself.
Unfortunately, while the show's premise of helping
Getting
morbidly obese
fat when
people
you have
lose
to depend on people is kind of beyond me. Because why is someone else like feeding you that much, right? That you can't move, like surely someone else
their
doing
weight
it.
is great on paper, its execution is far from perfect. Behind the triumphant on-screen moments lies a tangled web of emotional manipulation, neglected mental health, and alleged mistreatment, all of which gets buried beneath the dramatic edits and the uplifting music.
That's kind of normal. I don't want to say it like I'm defending it, but like that's normal. Ignoring mental health, and that is very normal, even in normal people scenario. But manipulation and emotional, that's TV show thing. That is very normal, I would say. It's not exclusive to this show. I'm not defending it.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I
Hello.
create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we're diving into everything wrong with TLC's My 600-Pound Life. How a show meant to change lives for the better has allegedly left many worse off, and at least in one tragic case, pushed someone past the point of no return. For those who haven't seen My 600-Pound Life before, it's a reality TV show that aired its first episode in 2012.
That
It's
is
about bringing
something.
on extremely obese people, often weighing way over 600 pounds, and providing them with the resources they need to lose the excess
How do you
weight,
even get to that
including
point
medical
is
supervision, strict
something.
dietary plans, and even weight loss surgery. And while many of the show's participants regain the weight after their appearance,
It is a little over 4 months since your weight loss surgery, and you already started gaining again. So obviously,
Regaining weight after dieting is relatively normal, even in like normal people scenario, not just this scenario. If I give you a short little advice, rather than dieting, you're more looking at a lifestyle change, something you're gonna do forever, basically, rather than a short span of dieting. That's what you should be looking at.
that's a very bad situation we have with you.
there are also a number of people who manage to keep the weight off and turn around their lives
Nice.
for good. Unfortunately, for every person this show helped, there are others who came out with extremely troubling allegations against its producers, like Gina Krasley, who claimed that the show's producers encouraged her to eat more or so they could add more
I bet
drama
they
to her
did.
episodes.
For
If
funny
true,
moments.
this allegation implied that the show wasn't just documenting the participants' struggles, it was actively creating it, something that only undermines their recovery, but also calls the entire premise of the show into question. But this is only the tip of the iceberg.
This is kind of
because
like
when encouraging
it's kind of like a setup thing. There's a show I remember completely different. It was about to catch a cheater or something. I saw one episode where basically the main guy, they set up the guy who was supposed to get caught, and then when they confronted him, the main host, he tried to fight him basically. The host wanted to fight the guy, and the bad guy was looking better because he wasn't fighting. That is not good. That was not a good episode. I don't know what other episodes were like, but that was not good.
More eating doesn't provide the spectacle they were looking for, the producers resort to deceptive editing to fit the narrative they had in mind. Or at
That's
least,
common.
that's what happens according to Marla
I would say
McCase.
that would happen before then they would suggest you to eat things that you're not supposed to eat. Editing to make it look for funny moments, yeah, 100%. They're doing that.
Who did have a successful weight loss journey, but
Let's
isn't
go.
very fond of the show that helped her along the way. One of her scenes showed her in a hospital bed, refusing to get up even a year after her surgery.
Regarding one particular
I mean, we
scene
don't know
where
what
McCants
it's
refused
like.
to stand up, she revealed that the show warped the timeline, making it seem as if this scene occurred much longer after the surgery.
This made her look like she was just being lazy and stubborn for no reason, when, according to an interview she did later, this lazy
Oh, I want to
and
read that.
stubborn
Give
for
me a
no
second. I was dealing with malnutrition. I was in the hospital. He wanted me to get up. Seriously, I'm bleeding on bed and you want me to get up. That is two things. Number one, the issue on the show for bad editing, of course, and also issue on the doctor. Why are you forcing your patient to do things they physically cannot do, or whatever other reason they cannot do, even if not physically? Why are you doing that as a doctor?
reason, when, according to an interview she did later, this couldn't have been further from the truth, with her stating, like, the scene where I was in the hospital and I wouldn't get up. Y'all don't know why I didn't get up. First of all, they put it out there a year ahead, when actually it was only 1 month after I had the gastric bypass. I had lost 70 pounds the first month. I had my surgery February 13th of 2015. That episode aired March of 2015. So I had just lost 70 pounds.
Look at
I
that.
was malnourished.
The 1 year thing is impossible to happen because
I was in the hospital and he wanted me to get up. Seriously? I'm bleeding on the bed and you want me to get up? Now, reality TV shows tweaking timelines or rearranging scenes for dramatic effect isn't exactly breaking news. But in Marla's case, it wasn't just misleading, it painted a false picture of her behavior and undermined her commitment to turning her life around. And unfortunately, it wasn't just Marla who walked away from the show feeling mistreated. Season 7 participant
it could also
Jeannie
make someone
Covey
give up.
accused the showrunners of forcing her to film while she was suffering from emotional turmoil. You see, Jeannie had to travel to Texas with her mother for the show, leaving her
Okay.
father back home. But about 6 months into the filming process, she noticed that she hadn't heard from him in several days. So she contacted the authorities to request a wellness check, only to be met with devastating news that her father had passed away. The show then showed her returning home and abandoning the weight loss program Dr. Now, the show's host, had designed for her. She later claimed that she and her mother were grieving the loss of her father and asked the producers to stop filming. However, instead of agreeing to her request, the showrunners threatened them
course
with
they
a
did.
lawsuit, essentially forcing them to continue filming without
You know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of a short scene from a movie I saw. I disliked the movie, but the scene I saw was kind of reminded me of this. What happened was the main, not the main character, sorry. One of the side characters was a student at a college. That's the number one place mental illness gets completely ignored. That's college for you. And what happened was the guy's father was hospitalized, during which the guy couldn't finish his project, which he was supposed to do because he was busy with his father and what have you. So he was asking for an extension, which the teacher wouldn't give him because teacher says during the time while you were not doing the project and your father was, oh my God, was in a hospital, did you stop taking a bath? Did you stop eating food? Then why did you stop working on your project? That's, while it's in the movie, it's not far from the truth. That thing does happen. People overall do not care about other people's mental health.
caring about her mental health, which brings us to one of the most frequent criticisms from former participants, the show's lack of adequate mental health support. In most cases, food addiction is as much of a mental struggle as it is a
Yep,
physical
it is.
one. However, according to these participants, the showrunners focused heavily
That
on the
is.
physical aspects of
What is
weight
all that?
loss, while neglecting these participants, the showrunners focused
Let me. I'm not sure what this part is. For this guy, I'm not against this plate. I'm against this plate. Why do you have these sweet things? I won't necessarily complain about this for him, but this is bad.
heavily on the physical aspects of weight loss, while neglecting the crucial mental health care they needed
Unless the bacon is fried. If it's fried, then it's bad. If it's not fried, then it's understandable.
to break the addiction. One of these participants is Alicia Kurgan, who alleged that when she brought up her declining mental health to the producers, including
They're not gonna
depression and
care.
anxiety, they did not provide any counseling. All she
Yeah,
received
they're not
was
gonna
a
do
single
that.
on-camera therapy session that was completely scripted. But that's not all, because she also accused the showrunners of faking her mental health evaluation before the surgery, claiming that she was given a quote 5-question mental health survey a couple hours before her procedure that asked questions with true or false answers. If she answered one of
Yeah.
the questions incorrectly, the producers would take the form away and give her another until she answered all the questions quote correctly. And while Alicia
course
was
they
still
did
able to lose her excess weight and change her life for the better, this
You should get your own mental doctor and not rely on the show. After all, it is your health. If I don't know if they promised or not, but at the end of the day, it is your mental health. You have to take care of it. You should get your own.
alleged lack of mental health facilities could explain why so many of the
Again, not defending
participants
them.
regained their weight after ending the show, since without Dr. Now's stern meal plans, there was nothing that motivated them to continue their weight loss journey. Unfortunately, regaining weight pales in comparison
not
to the
only
toll these
just-
mental health struggles allegedly
It's not only just like doctor, I guess, motivating you. It's now you're back to normal. You're gonna go into two categories. You're gonna reward yourself, like you're now light. You can reward yourself, and also now you're thin. You can eat whatever you want. You don't have to worry about that. So doing both of those things at a possible consistent rate, you're gonna go back to where you were to begin with.
took on James Bonner. James appeared in the 6th season of
Hello,
the show
James.
and was doing quite significantly better than most other contestants.
Today,
Yeah.
I'm going to see where my progress is at, and if I hit my weight loss goals to get me below 392. I'm happy with that.
In
102
total,
laps.
he lost over 316 pounds in just 12 months and was on track to lose even more.
And I'm hoping I can do something today I haven't done in around 15 years. I'm hoping I'll be able to start running.
That
If
is
I can.
fine, but don't push
That'll
yourself.
mean I can get even more active and hopefully make progress even faster.
However, his
Do what you can safely. Consistency is key. Pushing yourself is not necessarily, especially when you're like starting out or at that, like, he's not necessarily like fit. So do it in limitation of what you can without pushing yourself too much.
incredible weight loss journey was
You would be able
tragically
to do
cut
it what
short
you want
on
eventually.
August the 2nd, 2018, when he decided to game over himself. His
That's
passing came as a complete
YouTube
shock
moment.
to everyone who had watched him
That's the comment we read, right? Right.
fight so hard to turn his life around.
Because if I slip and fall, I can get seriously hurt.
No one knew why James would do something like that. That was until early 2020, when his family came forward and blamed his appearance on My 600 Pound Life for his untimely death. According to them, James reached out to one of the show's production assistants with his struggles, sending her
After-
messages like, "I am
after the
all
show,
effed up
during the
right
show.
right now. I'm not in a good place right now, it's dark, and I had a breakdown." But instead of taking his mental health struggles more seriously, the production assistant allegedly replied with, "Fake it till you make it,"
That is normal. That is Again, not defending it, but that is very, very normal advice you're gonna get from just about anybody. Here's the thing. No one cares about your mental illness. I already said that. Additionally, nobody, people are supposed to say that you're not supposed to, I guess, game end yourself. I'm also making a YouTube video. Sucks to be me too. People don't care about that either. People have to say they care about that. So they're going to give you something that may sound like an advice, but ultimately it's about ending the conversation. They don't care. No one does. It's just they don't even want to talk about it. Most people have their own things to worry about. They're yeah, unfortunately, no one cares. You should really get an actual medical professional, mental professional, or your family should do that for you. I don't know.
Completely dismissing the challenges he was facing, which should never have been the case, as his dark thoughts were visible even during the show's production.
There's
I
days
bet.
where I feel so worthless, I think.
I'd be better off in the ground.
To make matters worse, his family
That's
alleged
alcohol.
that he was drowning in debt as well. Since the show's producers failed to cover the medical expenses they promised they would, his family also took things a step further and filed a $1 million lawsuit against the show's parent company,
Wonder where
Megalomedia.
that
If the
would
things
go.
they alleged
Probably
were
nowhere.
completely actually true,
Probably nowhere because our present justice system is not about who is right or wrong, it's about who has more money. Which in our case, one guy is broke, other guy is a multi-million-dollar company
this should have been a quick and easy victory. However,
for
that's
the
where things
company.
took an unexpected turn. You see, while James's family was the first to take legal action against Megalomedia, they were far from the last. Soon after this, other participants, some of which we talked about earlier, also started filing lawsuits against the company for alleged mistreatment, lack of mental health
Yeah, maybe
facilities, and failure to
multiple
pay
one might do
previously promised
something.
medical bills. It wasn't long before Megalomedia was facing lawsuits from 10 different participants. However,
That's small.
instead of the love and support you'd expect these individuals to receive, the online community largely turned against them for being ungrateful. As one person
Okay, you know
in
what?
response to
Let's see
David
this one
Bolton's
a
lawsuit
second,
about
please.
unpaid medical bills wrote, he wanted the costs of medical treatment covered by the show and claimed
Yes, because show promised they would do that, or at least that's what we heard. What I want, what I wanted to say is that again, people don't care. Secondary is the online community. You know how smart online community is. It's a Reddit guy. He's farming karma. There's a 50-50% chance he might not even believe the things he's saying because he wants to get some rage bait karma or something. But otherwise, online community is what it is. Most of them are chronically ill, especially the one who are leaving comments and are really like stupid.
they made it more stressful. Dude would have died without the show. But hey, that's nothing to compare to wanting money, right? Similarly,
Yeah, I wonder, thanks to the show, the situation has most definitely changed. Yeah, he definitely did not die
Jeannie Covey faced backlash
because
for
of the
claiming
show.
the show should have stopped production after her father's death. After all, she signed the contracts willingly, and it wasn't as if the producers forced her to stick with the weight loss plan in the months that followed. With one comment on
Their
YouTube writing,
contract.
right from the start, she had a huge chip on her shoulder. She was a victim, a special case. Nobody understood her. Her gomless mum was serving up meals big enough for 6 people, but neither of them, quote, realized they were breaking the diet. Jeannie turned this into a battle between herself and Dr. Now, because she couldn't take responsibility for herself and buckle down to dieting. And
Yeah, they should have gotten a mental guy, 100%. But as a show, their first priority is funny moments rather than help. They should have
these
gotten
weren't
a
the only examples. People had seen many of the contestants that filed a suit
That was
act
small.
entitled and prideful on the show. This gave them a reason to question and challenge the criticisms these participants raised against the production, with one comment scrutinizing the claims made by James's family following his death, reading, I think LB's family is just looking to cope with his blank. which, yes, very tragic, but the weight loss was probably the only happiness he's had in recent years. I think he most
You
likely
don't
was
know
suffering
anything.
in a much deeper way. He worked the program and seemed happy with the results. I think his case will turn out to be
What's my tongue? You saw one episode which was cut in a way to make the show look good and make people look bad because that's what you wanted to see in the first place. First of all, you had a biased opinion, then the show reinforced your biased opinion. Now you have an even bigger biased opinion. You get what I'm trying to say? I hope you do. I'm not good
case
at
of some
explaining
kind of
things.
tragic blank in childhood that he was never able to work through. His family needs to put their grief where it belongs instead of latching onto an easy excuse for blank because there are no easy answers. One person with alleged onset experience
Sure what all those
also
blanks are.
suggested that Megalomedia was likely meticulous with the contracts contestants were required to sign, implying that the lawsuits filed against the company likely won't last long. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what happened on the 14th of April 2022, when a Texas court dismissed all the lawsuits in one fell swoop. Now, while the lawsuits were largely dismissed because of the airtight contracts, that doesn't mean the claims were entirely baseless. But unless a future lawsuit moves forward and prevails, there's no way
Probably
to
not.
confirm their validity at this point. That said, there are still plenty of questionable things about My 600-Pound Life that continue to cast a shadow over its
That's
legacy,
not
like
good
the
food, by the
humiliating
way,
shower
for you to
scene
eat.
that's shown while introducing each new contestant. Many fans see them as degrading and exploitative, which begs the
Which it
question,
is.
why do the cast members even agree to do these extremely embarrassing scenes in the first
I'll
place?
tell you why.
For a while, there was
I'll tell you why. Two reasons. I would say two reasons. Reason number one, you have to do what you have to do in exchange for the help that they're promising. Right? They promised at the beginning, even though they didn't cover it, the expenses you're going to need for whatever diet program or surgeries you're supposed to get, they're going to cover that. So whatever they do, it's kind of worth it if at the end of the day you are healthy. Number two is you probably hate yourself. If you look like that, you can't move on your own, you're relying on other people who are probably feeding you more than you should eat. That's why you're in that situation. You most likely hate yourself. So when you're gonna go in the scene which is kind of humiliating for you, you're gonna be like, I deserve this. This is me. This is my fault that is happening. I led my life to this point. You know, that's the two reasons why they would agree to that.
There's a rumor floating around on the internet that participants were paid over $1,000 for that scene alone, which was almost as much as they received for a
Is
full
it true?
episode. However, Angie J, who was on the show at one point, clarified this on Reddit, and according to her, there is no extra pay for it. But
There
the
you go.
shower scene is pretty much mandatory as part of showing the
Yep,
participants'
you
daily
gotta do
life.
what you
In
gotta
other
do in
words,
exchange for
anyone
help.
hoping to appear on the show and receive help must first agree to that scene, even if it comes at the cost of their dignity. But that's not even the end of it, because on top of all the shady stuff that's allegedly going on behind the scenes, there are some serious issues with what the show actually chooses to put on camera, and nothing highlights this better than Dr. Mike's reaction to one of the
Let's
show's
go.
episodes
I
on
know,
his
I know,
channel,
Dr.
where
Mike.
he raised concerns from the moment Dr. Now began his procedure.
Now that's the guy who actually knows what he's talking about.
And you have responsibility to your kids. So from this point on, we are going to make changes in your eating habit.
This is a very old school
Yeah.
way of doctoring where you tell a patient that you have children, you need to do better for them, and you try and lecture a patient. But in most instances, the way that you get a patient to where they want to be is by asking them the questions and getting them to a place where they say, I need to do this for my kids. Just the fact that they vocalized it rather than you did will already go further in their success rate.
This was followed
Makes
by
sense to
Dr.
me.
Now outlining the participants' dietary plan, which Dr. Mike also found somewhat concerning.
To stick with
Yeah.
the low-carb diet and eat only 3 times a day and no snacking. This will be a 1,200 calorie a day.
1200 calories, not happening. That is not happening. 1200 calories is not happening, we have two things to look at. First of all, for normal people, like you are a little overweight, you got a little bit of dad bod, you want to trim down, you can walk on your own and all that. And you don't get like massive cravings. Your arm is certainly not this thick type stuff. You are supposed to get 1500 calories if you can. It's not really recommended for you to go below 1500. Different people are different, but generally speaking, it is kind of decided an average adult requires somewhat of 2000 calories a day. Eating below that, you're going to lose weight. Eating above that, you're going to gain weight. So generally, 1500 is kind of like a reasonable decided if you want to lose weight. Of course, if you're a madman, you might go down, but you're most likely not going to be able to keep up with that. That is scenario number one. 1500 for if you're normally overweight. For people who are this level of overweight, your plan is going to look a little different. Your plan is going to look something in like, let's make an assumption. Let's assume you're eating 4000 calories a day. You're not going to dunk down to 1200. That is not happening. You're going to not going to go down to 1500. What you're going to most likely go down to is 500 to whatever you were eating, 500 less to whatever you were eating. So assuming you were eating 4000, you're going to go 3500. You're still gaining weight. You're still gaining weight. The 3500 is way more than what your body needs. But if you go below that, you wouldn't be able to keep up with it. You're going to give up really quick. And as I said, consistency is the key. You didn't gain all this weight in a few days. You're not going to lose it in a few days. First week, try going down 500. See if you can go down. If not, stay at negative 5000. If you can go down, eventually, whenever you feel like it, go down. Now you're at negative 100. You're now at 3000. Eventually, you're going to go to 1500, but it's going to be a slow process. You're not going to go immediately down. That is not going to happen. You're going to feel weak. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to, I forgot. You're going to feel really hungry and you're going to craving. Those are two different things. And a few more things I'm probably not remembering right now.
Expect her to go from eating what she's eating to a 1200 calorie diet 3 times a day. I just feel like you're setting up a person for failure on
That's
that.
not
She's
gonna
gonna
happen.
have massive cravings, especially with the difficulties of her job. It's gonna make her sad. It's gonna make her uncomfortable.
And Dr. Now's plan for incorporating exercise into the participants' routine wasn't much better either.
Your ability to do exercise and walk.
And you want her to exercise and walk with
Not
1200
happening.
calories? I mean, it's
Absolutely not happening.
impossible.
I really don't do
1200, you are not exercising, dog. I'll be guarantee you. And a normal person is not exercising at 1200. And also define exercise, because her level of exercise might not be what I might be thinking. Some level of physical movement is great, but then again, I suggest you to only to go down 500 calories, not go to 1200. 1200 is the thing. If you stay still, not move a muscle, an average person would still lose weight. If you eat 1200, if you just lay in bed, not move a muscle, and you somehow consume 1200 calories, you're still going to lose weight.
a lot of walking.
Or how much you can walk before you feel tired and give up.
Maybe like from here to your waiting room.
She should really be working with a nutritionist to figure out what she's already consuming and make changes from there, as opposed to getting a cookie cutter 1200 calorie recommendation and telling her to exercise when she's
That's
never
not even
exercised
for a
before.
normal
It's
person.
just going to be a major shock to the system. I think even the most well-intentioned patient is going to struggle with that.
Even the way Dr. Now, quote, approved the surgery didn't sit right with Dr. Mai.
You're making good progress, and I think you're gonna be
Let's
a
go.
candidate for weight loss surgery, okay? But you still have a BMI close to 100. So I'm going to send you to the hospital so we can run some tests on you, make sure you are safe for anesthesia. If all those tests are good, I'll approve you for surgery.
I hate that he says it as if like he needs to approve. We'll send
I,
you to the hospital for some special tests to make sure it's safe for you to go for the surgery. Not for me to decide if it's safe. You're not deciding. The tests are deciding whether or not it's safe for the patient. It's in their best interest. It's not you gatekeeping it.
So while Dr.
it's test, and also from what I know, there are two things. Number one, the test, which I have no clue about. Number, did I say number one? I don't know. Other factor is, are you losing weight on your own? Because if you're not losing weight on your own, nobody's gonna approve your surgery. That thing needs to be approved by a medical professional. So I don't know about that one. I don't know. Either side is between the two. I'm on the Mike's side, Dr. Mike's side. Dr. Mike knows more than the other guy. And that's what it seems like to me.
Now is known for being stern yet patient with participants, there's still room for improvement when it comes to his overall approach and methodology, which he still has plenty of time to do, since the show isn't going anywhere. While
You know
its
what I
viewership
remember?
has been on the
You know what I just remember? The scene I saw, it was some like a, well, obviously very overweight patient. And he was eating food secretly, and I think he was eating fast food secretly. And when the fat doctor confronted him, and the patient said, "Well, I don't want to be malnutrition." And doctor said, "Well, do you look like you're malnutrition?" So that was obviously a funny moment. The fat doctor is more about farming funny moments rather than health. Also secondary, yeah, you can be malnutrition even though you're like extremely overweight. Nutrition is more than just calories. And also, eating fast food is not going to give you nutrition. Speaking of nutrition, we are almost at the end of the video, so I'll give you just a tad bit of advice if you want to lose weight. Number one thing you're looking at is protein. Second thing, protein is what gonna get your body to not eat itself out when you're dieting. Second thing you're looking at is fiber. Fiber is gonna make you less hungry. Now, the way you're gonna get these is go as natural as you can. So I recommend like a fruit salad or a vegetable salad. Vegetables are also cheap and a very good source of fiber. Fruit will also introduce the nutrition part. That's the one that's gonna help you not go malnutrition. So vegetables and fruits, that's your main source of fiber. For protein, you can either get a shake or lean meat or egg. That's your three option. Try to stay away from sugar. That is your sugar and oil as far away as you possibly can. And not give up. Give yourself a few cheat days here and there. You don't want you to give up. Like I said, it's less about that. Like I said, like the very beginning of the video, it's less about doing a dieting for a short period of time, more about what you're gonna do as a lifestyle change. That's what your main goal is. Because if you're just gonna do it for a short time, you're gonna go back to your previous habit once you're done with your diet. Back to square one.
Since 2021, it's still popular enough to warrant new seasons, even 13
That's
years after
normal.
it first aired on TV. The only way it might
For two reasons. People love rewatching the things. I mean, look at Marvels. People keep rewatching it. Look at Family Guy. Family Guy fell off ages ago. People still keep watching it. And also, the main core audience we saw on Reddit, it's still on the show's side rather than the side of the patients. That's something. So they still have their core audience.
truly fall out of
They're
favor
gonna get
is
new
if
seasons.
major revelations surface about the alleged abuse, exploitation, and neglect going on behind the scenes,
Very
which, given the
unlikely.
10 dismissed lawsuits, seems highly unlikely.
You know what you can do though? I don't know if you can do it or not, but like have have a double agent in there. Send someone in there who's going in there with the knowledge of whatever like laws and what have you, so you can get some sort of gotcha. Because most patients who are going there, they're going there to get help, not to have a gotcha or have some secret leaked. I don't know, send a double agent somehow. That might help, probably not. Anyways, look out for your weight. That's the number one thing you have is your body. You only have one, you gotta take care of it.